I was in law school, and I woke up in a cold sweat one morning early on and realized that that was the last thing in the world I really wanted to do. In order to make some money one time, I joined a carpentry crew, and things just clicked immediately. I just understood everything they asked me to do and could do it. So before very long at all, I was doing the trim carpentry. I was building bookcases and built-in cabinet work. And at that point, I took a look at furniture again and said, oh man, that's made out of wood too. How in the world did they do that? And decided that I wanted to be a furniture maker. So for several years, I made my living as a kitchen cabinet maker. As I was making a living and looking for every opportunity, fishing for every opportunity to make a piece of fine hardwood furniture whenever I got the chance. And before long, I found myself with a 15,000 square foot factory and 25 employees. To make the long story short, I found myself behind a desk all day long again, on the phone all the time, putting out fires, handling labor problems, handling supplier problems. The only time I touched a piece of wood was when I had to go out to the wood storage shed with a representative from the sawmill to show him how the wood that they sent us wasn't adequate. That was very frustrating for me because I had gotten out of the white-collar world because I wanted to work with my hands and build beautiful things. And I was not working with my hands, and I wasn't building anything that was particularly beautiful. I was building pretty mundane stuff. As the business was growing into an enterprise, I was starting to get commissions for really fine custom pieces. I did several commissions of 18th century work that started to get noticed and started to bring about commissions that were good enough and big enough and valuable enough where I realized I could actually make a living for my family off of just custom commissions. So I sold that business the first chance I got and determined never to have more than 2 assistants again, and built this shop that we're in. In many ways, I wish I had it to do over again, because I would lay out the shop quite differently. But I've managed to get everything done that I needed to do in this building. My parents had a book on 18th century English furniture, and in it was a double-page spread picture of an English desk on bookcase, or one might say a secretary. And the workmanship of it was just incredible. I specifically remember that piece of furniture. Obviously, many pieces of furniture affected me, but that particular one just knocked me out. And it was fancy veneered and fancy carved. It was just beyond my wildest imagination to actually be able to accomplish. I think at this point I could accomplish it, and I've done things of that level. But at the time, it was just like looking at magic. The first commission I got for a piece of real furniture was a sheet music cabinet for a lady that my family knew. She wanted a sheet music cabinet, and I made it out of cherry. And I look back at it now, and given my level of skill and knowledge, it was really a creditable piece of furniture, and I'm very proud of having done it. And actually, I look back at it, I'm kind of amazed that I was able to do it when I did. I classify myself as self-taught, but a self-taught person finds all kinds of mentors, people to teach them this, or I mean, I had one set of mentors that taught me skills and techniques, and another set of mentors that taught me styles and design. And in my particular case, the two didn't cross over very much. My style mentors didn't really know a whole lot about technique or skill. They weren't makers. And my maker mentors really didn't know as much about style as I wanted to know. So I needed both groups to pull it together. Not long after I started, fine woodworking came on the scene, and I just started devouring that, every word on every page. And a couple of other magazines came on the scene, and then they started publishing books, and I devoured all of them. So I learned a whole lot from reading as well.
So anybody want to barter you like a 72 Chevy for a piece of work? Or
I did actually. I traded a chair once for a Triumph TR3, which was fun, and I ended up selling the TR3 for quite a nice profit. So I've done something like that. When you asked about funny stories, the funniest story that comes to mind is the client from hell. They blandished me with the offer of tens of thousands of dollars worth of commissions. I should have known better when the lady said that she wanted the underside of everything to be just as pretty as the show surfaces so that her cats would be able to enjoy it. Looking back on it, the humor of having to work with someone who was as concerned with what her cats saw as what she saw, I can laugh at that. I've just got the pack rat mentality. I just can't stand to see something potentially useful be thrown away. Every time I throw away a pattern that I worked so hard to develop, when I realize I'm not ever going to make that piece of furniture again, still I worked so hard to develop a good pattern that they all have a history here sitting in the shop, and I can remember every piece of furniture I made when I look at that pattern. And it's hard to throw them away. A lot of the people that I teach nowadays, when I teach, are people who have worked in industry or at a profession that they didn't really love, and what they love is their woodworking that they do as a hobby. Well, I've been able to make a halfway decent living doing it full time. It's an incredible blessing to have stumbled into it. I did just sort of stumble backwards into it. How I discovered myself as someone who can do this stuff was just circumstance, but it sure was a happy thing.